Woo-wee. And just like that, we are back. We are back. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. And when I tell you, listen, we are going to get into the thick of it, all things related to the Nolan Wells case. At this point in the investigation, I'm about this close to deeming this a homicide, but I am not a homicide detective. But something is not adding up, and the stories are beginning to fall apart. The kids are crumbling under pressure. The kids are crumbling under pressure. And let me be very honest with you. I am going to give some very strong opinions today. I've kind of held back a little bit, I've given you the facts of the case, been able to quash and squash a lot of myths. We're not new to this around here, okay? I can smell a rat from a mile away. And we can start with that photo that people tried to get us to believe that Nolan Wells was at a party. That's BS. That's BS. And we know that. I knew that. Somebody actually inboxed me and they said, I want to thank you. Because Rolling Stones, according to recent updates in the Nolan Wells case, Rolling Stone has confirmed that photo, y'all, that was not the photo the night of July 4th. We know that. I knew that. I mean, if you put two and two together, right? If we stick to the facts of this case, we know that the Coast Guard received a call on July 4th. There's no damn way Nolan could have been at a party. We know the Coast Guard tried to hide that. So you got to stick with the facts. We're not going to get the truth. The truth is somewhere in between, but I can tell you this, those kids are crumbling under pressure. They're just kids. And I don't care, Ashley Cole, how much you rehearse them. They are kids. You can't do the work for them. You can't go into the interrogation room for them. And at the end of the day, the truth is going to come out one way or another, period. One way or the other. And before we get into the thick of it, with me pulling up, listen, news just dropped that Nolan Wells' mom has spoken with the young woman that he met at the party at the Horn Island before his disappearance and death. These kids have been lying. Those boys have been lying. Nolan did not. Let me say it over and over again. Get it out your heads. Nolan did not stay behind on the island. If you follow me, I promise you, we're going to get there. Nolan did not stay behind on the island. That is a lie from the pits of hell. That is a lie. That is a distraction. That's a lie that did not stick. They want you to think that. Now, there's so many Netflix documentaries. There's one where this young girl, cut out the stomach. She befriended a girl. She pretended that she was a rich girl, right? And she went through all of this just to feel like she belonged. She played like she was rich. She dated this guy. She was buying gifts for his family. And at the end of the day, she wanted a baby. And she ended up taking the life of another young woman that was pregnant and carried the lie all the way through. Where am I going with this? People lie. People will carry the lie to the finish line. Even when the cops pulled her over with the baby, she insisted that she gave birth to the baby. They had a doctor go in and examine her, do a physical exam. And he said, nope, that's the name of it. Maternal instinct. He said, absolutely not. Biologically, there is no way she just gave birth. But she insisted that's her baby, only for us to come and find out, only for it to be put out that she committed murder, right? People will carry a lie to the finish line. I don't give a damn who they are. I don't give a damn if your stepmom is a judge. I don't care. Ashley Cole, I think you're partly responsible. Maybe not for Nolan's disappearance, but for the conflicting information that's coming out. Because let me tell you something. I got a word for you, Ashley Cole. I have a word for you. And I'm going in today. I'm going in today. I don't think people really understand the aspect of girl code. Hold on, let's get into it. Give me 1 second. Let me pull everything up. I don't think people really understand what it means to have girl code, because typically when you talk about girl code and girls staying on code, y'all like to talk about you kind of weave in men in that equation, and it comes to do and you just kind of water it down to a man. Girl code is bigger than that. Way bigger than that. And Ashley Cole, you have failed Nolan Wells. You, your family. Let me tell you something. This has everything to do with race. Initially, I didn't want to jump on that bandwagon. It's the low-hanging fruit. But when it's true, it's true. This is being handled the way it's being handled because Nolan Wells is a Black African-American boy. Period. If it were a white boy that went missing, you better bet your freaking bottom dollar every stone. There would have been no stone left unturned. They would have had the military out there. They would have been kicking open doors. Black kids would have been drugged down to the center of the town square to be interrogated if a white boy went missing on a boat full of Black folks. Ain't no way in hell. It would be they would have to literally prove their innocence, even if it was an accident. Do you understand what I'm saying? They would have been publicly annihilated. Period, point blank. Sheriff, you got some kind of nerve. You were going to sweep this boy's death under the rug as no foul play and an accidental drowning, just like they did with the other young Black man. Only for months later, yeah, there's some foul play. And not only is there foul play, there was a tampering with evidence, okay? That was in April, May, June, July. It took 90 days. It took 90 days for them to do their job because initially, it has everything to do with race. I don't care. I said what I said because they are giving the white boys the benefit of the doubt. What do you mean by the benefit of the doubt? We take them at their word. And as a result, there is no suspected foul play. This has to be or was an accidental drowning. Why? Because the kid said so. The kid said he did not come back. And although we have no witnesses to corroborate those boys' story that he remained on the island, nobody saw him on the island. It's because he didn't stay on the freaking island. If nobody saw his black ass on the island, it's because he was not on the island, which tells you he got in the boat. Not one person that was there after 3:30 p.m. reported seeing Nolan Wells. That's because Nolan Wells did not stay behind. Do you understand what I'm saying? The stories are falling apart. The kids are starting to crumble under pressure. And to all of the black kids and black parents and black coaches, shut your ass up. Shut up. Shut your mouth. You ain't got, listen. Shut up. You ain't got no business talking about nothing if the white people haven't even come out to say there is no race involved. There is no harm, no foul. How in the hell you gonna jump in there and be the cleanup man for a group of suspects that won't even talk? Shut your ass up. And that's why we say race has everything to do with it, Trayvon. That's why we say you guys are so conditioned deep down in the South. You have no idea that what you're doing is abnormal. Why are you out there providing air cover for suspects that won't even talk because they know their rights? There's no way those boys are going to talk. You know why? Because anything that anything that you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Let me tell you who knows this. Ashley Cole. She got her boys good and ready. They know to be quiet. The judge has prepped everybody that's been on the boat. They know to be quiet. Let the niggers go out there and talk. Let the mulattoes go out there and talk. They feel like they're one of us. Let us make a few calls and get the black coach who used to coach Nolan to get out there and talk and say, oh, no, Mississippi has been good to me. It ain't no way this has anything to do with race. Shut your ass up. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because if he were white and 3 white boys decided to leave on a boat, there is no way they're going to leave their white counterpart behind. They're going to drag his white ass in the boat and say, what the fuck are you thinking? Get your ass on this boat right now. And they would have called his parents and said he's drunk out of his mind. If Nolan were white, he's acting stupid. Yes, ma'am. He's acting stupid. He's drunk. And guess what? When they call the parent, the dad, even if the dad didn't have a boat, he would have found a way to get to the island to get his son back. Yeah, it has everything to do with race. Okay. Stop saying we love Nolan. No, you don't. That is a lie from the pits of hell. People that love each other take care of each other. People that love each other, even in the freaking military, nobody gets left behind. You've seen the movie Saving Private Ryan. They went back. Strangers, because they vowed to protect and serve. Nobody gets left behind. Nobody. Because they honor their duty. These are not friends. Never was. Sometimes it takes you years to F around and find out. They don't love Nolan. Never did, never. He was an accessory. What do you mean? Your black boys that play sports are accessories to white people. It's like carrying a purse, having a boat, having the newest model of a Tesla. It's an accessory that I know this cool guy that's in impeccable shape. He can run a 40 and 4.0 flat. His name is Nolan Wells. He hangs out, good kid, hangs out at my house. It's like having a freaking purse or a pool. It's an accessory, people. Wake up. If they loved him, they would have been out looking for him. But they went home and watched a fucking movie. They didn't call his parents right away. It wasn't until they got that smoke and people started talking. Ashley Cole, you should be ashamed of yourself as a woman. As a woman who is heavily male identified. Hold on, Queen Shiba, where are you going with this? Let me cook. You are a white woman who has come out to say that your children, you and your family are receiving death threats. Well, let me send you the memo. Nolan is dead. When does your maternal instinct kick in as a mother to be able to relate to another mother? Ma'am, you are some kind of wonderful. You don't even think Nolan is important enough to give his mother a call and to look her in her face, woman to woman, to give her your deep condolences. Y'all don't give a damn about Nolan. Y'all, these people they have not even talked to the family. This woman who is a mother pleading to the public to leave her children alone is doing everything to protect her son, who knows what happened to this boy. This is a woman that didn't have the decency to pick up the fucking phone to call another woman and say, I am sorry. You are a coward, ma'am, because that tells me you identify more with your political position than you do with your vagina and your biological clock as a woman. Your clock was supposed to override your seat on the bench as a judge, because you said yourself you're concerned about your children. That's girl code, where you take one for the team and you say, I don't give a damn if she's mad. The human thing to do. That's how I know y'all are cold-hearted people. You won't even fucking pick up the phone. That's cold-hearted. And if you're that cold-hearted to another mother whose son was last seen in the presence of your family member, ain't no telling what the hell happened on that boat. Oh, can I cook just a little bit? As a woman, you know how concerned you are about the alleged death threats. Now multiply that by a gazillion for another one that lost her child who used to hang out with yours. You coward. You are a coward. A real coward. Just off GP, woman to woman. You set the example for the boys in the house. You set the example for the men to be able to connect their minds with their heart posture. And that tells me you cold. That tells me you're cold and you'll do anything to cover up anything, even if it means not acknowledging the fact that Christine lost her son. You won't even give her dignity in death. You won't even acknowledge her. Look her in her eyes. To me, that's a sign of guilt. That's a sign of wrongdoing. I have to distance myself just in case the shit hits the fan. When people are innocent, you watch the first 48, you watch cold case files, unsolved mysteries. When people are innocent, the heart is seated in a different position, not physically, but spiritually. When you start shucking and jiving and hiding and distancing yourself, just in case. Because wouldn't it be cold if I knew what happened to her son and I went to her home and hugged her and cried with her? The jury would think I'm a monster. The jury would think we're absolute monsters, that we actually went back out there to search. So let me play it safe, keep my distance, issue a public condolences, but at the same time, be very, very careful. I think I have it under wraps. The sheriff's is doing his part, but guess what? The notoriety and the character of Nolan supersedes any white teen that was on that boat. I'm sorry, y'all. And because of that, people, white, black, yellow, brown, have stepped in to say, we have to get answers. What happened to that boy? He did not stay on the island. I'll tell you that much. I think you're a grifter. Ryan Road, welcome. You said angry because they're not following the tribe. Don't worry, you'll find. I think you're grifting. Welcome to the tribe. Let us welcome you over here. Let us welcome you over here. Elevate you just a little bit. Welcome to the tribe.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Oh, yeah. We black people that talk back. No such thing as a grifter. If you don't like it, baby, I'll never eat from a plate that doesn't satisfy my palate. And if look, and Ryan, listen, let me be fair. Say what you need. We've been doing this. We're not new to this. We true to this. I think you're new here. But y'all make Ryan feel welcome. I'm not trying to be funny. Don't be rude, guys. Don't be rude. But Ryan, we're a different kind in these pods. No, I told y'all don't be rude. Don't be rude to Ryan. We're a different kind in these pods. Yeah, so Judge Ashley, a few days ago, the mother of one of Nolan's friends, stepmother, she made this statement. She said Nolan made the decision to stay back while the others took off. Oh, that's your story and you're sticking to it, huh? She's not, let me tell you something. They're not coming off of that. They're not coming off of that. This is a judge. Those boys are going to carry that no matter what the outcome of the investigation is. We know Nolan did not stay back. She said he made the adult decision. Now, I don't know if this is true, quote unquote. He must have told them. She said Nolan decided to stay back while the others took off. He must have told them, here, y'all, take my phone with y'all. I'll figure out a way to catch up with y'all later and call home. Yeah, right. But anywho, this is the original statement. I think that person that posted it is just kind of trolling. Our family, along with the community, grieves the loss of Nolan Wells. Our thoughts and prayers are with Nolan's family. Our son, Warren, loved Nolan dearly. Bullshit. Bullshit. Warren is not a high school student. That's a young man that can speak for himself. Why do you as a woman need to come out? You're not even, let me not go there. Bullshit. People that love is an action. It's an action. I call bullshit across the board. You don't distance yourself from somebody that you love. When you lose a loved one, you grieve a loved one. This isn't a divorce. Why are you behaving like this is a relationship that went bad? Unless the shit went bad on the boat. I'm a huge fan of true crime. I have a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice. I have a Master's in Organizational Psychology. I know how the game works. You cannot rehearse innocence, but guilt stands out like a plague. Even if not directly responsible for his death, indirectly, these children and their parents, these young men, these men are acting and behaving guilty. An innocent heart cannot be denied. Ma'am, this is not love. This is not grief. This is strategy, and this is chess, not checkers. Our son, Warren, loved Nolan dearly. Unfortunately, I feel that it is appropriate for our family to dispel some rumors with facts based upon social media attention that is being diverted away from Noel's family and their loss. You did that when you turned off your social media. You activated the game. The game was activated when you made the first move on the chessboard, ma'am. You turned the attention away from Noel's family when you decided to go ghost, when you decided to go underground, when you decided to deactivate it. You turned the attention away. Surely you must have known or calculated the risk that people will assume, that people would focus on you. You did that. I'm being serious. She said, yes, I deactivated my Facebook. Given the very heightened emotional state of social media right now, I fear for the safety of my children, of my child and my children, just like Nolan's parents feared when he didn't come home. You see what I'm saying? Just like your boys refusing to talk. It exasperates the situation. But, okay, my husband and I have 6 children, and we covet their privacy. We do not believe it is appropriate for our minor children's photographs to be circulated throughout the internet, presenting potential threats to their safety. What about Nolan's safety? What about you standing up as a woman first and a mother second to do everything possible, even being uncomfortable for a minute, to help a family figure out what the hell happened to their son who is dead, who will never come home? Now, should the Lord be willing, ma'am, you will have the privilege and the honor of raising your children until the day you take your last breath. They get to come home safely. You'll watch them get married, grow up, have kids, and play with your grandkids. That is not the case in this situation. So how do you, Miss Ashley Cole, make this more about you than the dead boy? How does this become more about your family and their safety than about a body that was washed up on an island, last seen with the individual last seen with your son? She said, I graduated high school with Christine Wells, Wansley. We are from the same community. No, you're not. No, you're not. You can't be, because of the way you're behaving. But I get what you're saying in proximity. But y'all aren't built the same, because your spine is missing and you're hiding behind your robe as a judge. The way you're moving is as a politician and not a dear friend who cares about another woman losing her child. I'll say it. Nobody else will. I'll say it. I have the utmost respect for her and all of the Wells family. We mourn the loss of Nolan with them. Our prayers have been and will continue to be with them. Your prayers is that they're not able to get to the bottom of it, and that whatever you gave those boys to say will be the final outcome of this investigation. I think that's your prayer. I think it's your prayer that the DA will be able to check off the list and say, yeah, we met with them. Okay, no foul play. I think your prayer is that they can wrap this up at the end of week by Friday, 5 p.m. That's what I think, and make it all go away so that you can get back to your lovely life. I think that's your prayer. I think your prayer is that you don't find yourself subject to a civil lawsuit, right? Because as a boat owner, whether you own the boat or whoever owned the boat, if there was any type of negligence in any way, your children and you can be held responsible. And surely you have insurance on the boat. And maybe, just maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is a cover up so there won't be a multi-million dollar payout to the Wells family. And I don't know. The best thing is to say that he did stay behind. So therefore, we're not legally liable financially or criminally. I'm not saying they did anything criminal, but what I am saying is the story that you're telling don't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, it's because it's a lie. I don't think you gave the full account. And I think you understand that as a judge, the best thing is to do nothing and say nothing at all. And I think you're providing cover and you are a shield for the boys. And that's fine if you want to die on that hill. But at the same time, we're not going to stop knocking and asking questions regarding Nolan Wells's death. So I just want you to know that as a woman, you're out of order. As a mother, you're out of order. Completely out of order. She said, my husband and I were not at the Horn Island at any point on the 4th of July. No one in our family is trying in any way to impede with the investigation by law enforcement or to otherwise hamper the family and law enforcement's quest for answers. But you understand that your position as a judge, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're going to give your kids the benefit of the doubt. We understand that you do business with the sheriff, you do business with the DA just because you're a judge. Court cases come through. You guys kind of work alongside each other, directly or indirectly, probably for a number of years. So, ma'am, we understand that the benefit of the doubt would be handed to you. But as a woman and as a mother, it's your responsibility, even if you do receive the benefit of the doubt over Nolan Wells's mother, who happens to be a woman of color. This could have been a perfect example for you to display to other white prominent people how to use your position of power to help. If there's ever a misunderstanding, you say you're all part of the same community, act like it. You say you're grieving, act like it. Ma'am, I'm sure you didn't even make a phone call or a text. I do believe you came out with the second statement that said, we have not been in contact with the Wells family. Why not, friend? Listen, take race off the table for 1 second. Many of you are adults or young adults that are tuned into the show. If you went missing, a family member went missing while out with friends, and friends went underground, turned off social media, everybody refused to freaking talk to you, are those friends? Is that demonstrative of people that love you, that are grieving you, that are grieving your child? Hell to the no. Quit playing with us. Hell no. It's the exact opposite. At your worst, they turn their back on you, friend. You can't give me nothing, friend, because it's under investigation, friend. When did you become so politically correct, friend? Wow. E2, Brute, E2. I call bullshit. That woman is doing everything. See, there is nothing to protect if nothing happened. There is nothing to lawyer up for if nothing happened. I understand having a lawyer on standby, but to not say anything ever for a kid that you said spent the night at your house, who's one of the best kids you ever met, probably better than yours, because he wouldn't leave anybody behind. He would make sure everybody was good, but yours didn't. And they came up with the story, which I believe is a story that he decided to stay behind. And as a matter of fact, that has been refuted. What you mean, Queen Shiba? The mother spoke with the girl today. We're going to get into that. The mother spoke with the girl today that he, quote unquote, allegedly stayed behind. Now, who came up with this story? Those boys on this boat. These boys came up with this story. Nobody else came up with this story except these boys. And these are the people responsible for his disappearance. Hold on. Give me 1 second. And they have refused to talk. I'm going to tell you something. There's an old phrase that says silence cannot be misquoted. Silence cannot be misquoted. You can't misquote me. You can't go on record if I don't say anything. And now we have the FBI involved. Why would the sheriff's office be working with the DA if there's no foul play? There's only one or two possibilities here, folks. Either there's foul play or they're checking off the list to make this go away and trying to wrap it up. Listen, give the family what they want. We have Tyler Perry involved. We have Colin Kaepernick involved. We have big time eyes on this. We have media outlets. ABC has traveled from New York to Mississippi to go out to look at Horn Island. Hold on. We need to make this go away. If you, as a DA, have to meet with them to shut them up, meet with them. Y'all don't understand what's happening here. So either this is indicative that there is foul play, or this is a political move on the behalf of officials and authorities from Mississippi to shut their asses up. I believe it's the latter. I believe it's to check off a box. We met with you because the mother complained and said, I have not heard from them. And the only time they were willing to speak with me is I had to initiate contact. We know that's bullshit. It does have a lot to do with race. If Nolan Wells was a white boy that was decorated as nicely as he's decorated as an African American male with the same reputation, the same body type, the same spirit, the same camaraderie, the same favoritism, they would tear down the walls of Jericho, demanding to know and demanding a thorough investigation. He was not going to receive that initially. So I understand what the mother and the family is asking for. Keep that same energy across the board for him, like you would if he were a white 18-year-old male that was a star athlete, that came from a great family that everybody loved, that was in decent shape, handsome, period. That was not going to happen, folks. Initially. That was not going to happen. Now, I don't mind the family. You, like, in situations like this, you got to do what you got to do, right? You got to get your attorneys on standby, but ain't no freaking way. If my friends stay behind on an island, I would need a lawyer if I'm indeed telling the truth. You can lie detector, you can test me, you can give me a polygraph, whatever you need to freaking do. Let's freaking find my friend. And as a matter of fact, Wells family, because we do love Nolan and we are grieving Nolan, to hell with that. You don't need to find a ride back to the island. We're taking you back to the island. These people gave the family their asses to kiss. The Wells family didn't have a boat, but these beloved friends did. Ashley Cole's family. Ashley has access, resources. Ashley could have made a phone call and she didn't. Ashley could have made sure that the parents got across back to that island, but she didn't. Yeah, what about your friends? The stories are falling apart. So that doesn't, I get it. I get it. You said, as smart as you are, queen, in her eyes, you're not equal. So here's the thing I'm going for. Probably not, because she doesn't know me, right? If you're talking a white black issue, we're talking these people are saying that Nolan was a dear friend of the family. So if we focus on friends, That's not very friendly. That's not very friendly. Period. Unless you have more details and information. Now, not yet. You said, have you touched on? Not yet. I'm about to pull it up. Now, this is what I want to talk about, the stories of falling apart. I need all the Negroes to shut up because you don't know. You need to follow their lead. You don't need to lead the pack. You weren't on the boat. You have nothing to offer that could be helpful and or useful. You have an opinion just like the rest of us, but when it comes down to what happened, you don't know. So why the hell are you talking? What are you talking about, Queen Shiba? I want to go over 2 interviews that let me hold on. Let me pull it up. This one, Nolan Wells' best friend initially sat with TMZ and he said it was not a race thing. Listen to this. And maybe that's his opinion, right? Based on his relationships with some of the individuals. This is what he had to say. It's going to take just a few seconds. Oh, TMZ got rid of it? Did they get rid of the interview? Oh my God. Y'all, they got rid of the interview. TMZ got rid of the interview. So I'm gathering that his mother may have asked them to take it down. Give me 1 second. Wow, TMZ. Uh-oh. This is not good. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. The other one. Let's do this. I'll start with this one. I told you the stories are falling apart. TMZ freaking pulled the interview. Here we go. This is a different one. This is something different.
And now to the latest on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. For the first time since Wells' body was found, we're hearing from a friend of the 18-year-old who was with him on the day that he died. Tristan Shepard, who says that he was with Wells on the 4th of July, but declined to speak on camera because of the threats that he says he's been receiving.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short.
Ike, what more are we learning about why Wells stayed behind and didn't go back to the mainland with his friends?
Yeah, Karen, this has really been at the center of everything. This question, why did Nolan Wells stay behind when everyone else decided to actually leave the island? Well, now we're hearing from someone who was there that day. His childhood friend, Tristan Shepard, said that the boat that they came on experienced an electrical issue and they had to go back to shore because of that. And he says Nolan told the group he wanted to stay behind because he met a girl and planned to catch a ride back on another friend's boat. Now, Shepard described this trip as one last hurrah before everyone scattered back to school and work after this holiday. There were about 300 people on that island that day. A lot of them were high school classmates. They knew each other, and they wanted to spend this time as just one big party before everyone dispersed wherever they needed to go. But according to his friend, Tristan Shepard said that this wasn't anything sinister at all. It was an 18-year-old who wanted to have fun, but Kira, as we know, that 18-year-old Nolan Wells never made it back to shore.
Well, and Brian and Tristan also, he's the one yelling, not Wells. How crucial is that?
Here, I think is very crucial in the sense of now we know who's yelling, why they were yelling, and according to Tristan, it had nothing to do with what Nolan Wells was doing. Instead, giving us a description that a stranger was kind of getting in his face and he was yelling at him. This closed down one avenue of investigation. And while that might be heartbreaking that it doesn't give us an answer, eliminating possibilities as to what happened will hopefully steer us in the right direction, finding the right reason as to why everything happened. And then going back to something that Ike said, I hope that with Trayson saying Wells was there talking to a girl, that we can get a description of that girl, what she was wearing, who she might be, and follow up on more questions.
So then, Brian, at this point of the investigation, it's the autopsy that I know we're all waiting to hear about, because that will definitely help us try to figure out what exactly happened, right?
Yes, the autopsy is probably the next step and probably the biggest step in determining what happened here. Autopsies do two things. It tells you the cause of death and the manner of death. It could be any number of things in terms of being a homicide, an accident. I don't believe it's going to be a natural death, but that determination is going to be important. But then also, of course, the cause. What caused Nolan Wells to die? Is it strictly the drowning? Was it something else? Is there blunt force trauma? That's going to give us a lot more answers and hopefully some questions that lead to the ultimate question and answer of what happened to Nolan Wells and how did he die.
So now to the latest on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. For the first time since Wells' body was found, we're hearing from a friend of the eight.
All right. So, Trayson, I had to do a little research before everybody starts shutting down their social media page. Give me 1 second. And what I discovered is Trayson is actually really good friends, or appear to be really good friends, with one of the main guys on the boat, which I believe to be Wyatt. I could be wrong. I could have the name wrong. Hold on. Let me get it together. Trayson, I don't want to say too much, but let me just show you the picture. Give me 1 second. Everything's kind of running a little bit. I may have too many tabs open, but let's get into it. All right, here we go. After doing this interview, Trayson received a lot of backlash from social media, right, wrong, and or indifferent. And let me just say this. Initially, I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, right? But I get it. If the other boys are not speaking out, why are you windmilling for them? Why are you speaking on their behalf? Nolan is not here to speak. So his autopsy is going to have to speak for him. Science is going to have to, we're going to have to rely on science to tell us exactly what happened. I don't understand why he will come out and refute things that the other guys have not refuted. Now, Trayson took to his social media on Facebook and he posted, to all media outlets, please be advised that I will no longer be granting interviews to any additional reporters. My intention was to speak truthfully regarding the situation. I have established direct contact with the necessary individuals should further clarification be required to address any misinformation. Moving forward, I will only be communicating with the two reporters with whom I am currently engaged. I apologize to anyone expecting a more extensive story. My priority remains advocating for myself, my friends, and justice for Nolan. Listen to this. He comes first, the boys on the boat come second, and Nolan comes last. The heart doesn't lie. It's the subconscious behavior that people exhibit that will lead you to the writing on the wall. He says, my priority remains advocating for me. Then my friends, which are the boys on the boat, and then I'll focus on justice for Nolan. First of all, why are you taking interviews without checking with the family first? Why are you speaking on the behalf of somebody's dead son without running it across to their parents? Do you mind if I share my experience or what happened that day? Y'all, that's what people do that love you, that want to get justice for you. They don't clout chase. They don't line up interviews. They don't come out and say, everybody, I know y'all were hoping to see me, but I'm not coming back out. Only to the 2 reporters that I've taken up a rapport with. It's inappropriate considering the circumstances. You need to move however the parents are moving. And if the other boys aren't speaking, now we know you say you're going to advocate for yourself first. First of all, nobody ever knew you until you decided to speak. Second of all, you should be empathizing with the family. Allow them to lead with the interviews. Allow them to reach out. Why are you talking to ABC? Why are you dispelling anything that law enforcement has not dispelled? Why are you jumping ahead of the curve? This felt so off to me. So I said, well, let me go. What is going on in Mississippi with some of these Black boys? So then I start to scroll and I said, oh, lo and behold, is that not the boy on the boat? This is Trayson's social media. No, there's Trayson. Don't get them. Listen, don't get them confused. There's Trayson and there's Trayvon. I said, is this not the boy on the boat? Watch this. Right here. Oh, they're all friends. In proximity, adjacent to one another directly or indirectly. This is a big friend group. But inside the friend group, you have a subset group of friends. Trayson was in proximity to Nolan, but you weren't a best friend. His mother said that. I got to ride with mama. But I'll tell you who you were a best friend to. One of the boys on the boat. This one. Right here on your Facebook page. And that's fine. But say that. And you did, because you said, I'm advocating for myself, my friends, and lastly, justice for Nolan. So Nolan is not a forethought. He's an afterthought. After you protect yourself, after you protect your friend, then you will issue a call for action for justice for Nolan. See, and that's not wrong, right? We're not talking, he's not wrong for that. But for me to make it make sense and come out here and do a thorough breakdown for you all, I have to be able to put 2 and 2 together. And that's why you got that from Trayson that says no, because he's better, closer friends with one of the boys on the boat. And here's the photo on his Facebook. So I was able to snag it before he deleted it. And this photo was actually taken in 2023. Now, Trayson, I'm just showing you different photos. Isn't that another boy from the boat? I could be wrong. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Isn't this boy in this suit right here on the ground? This boy right here with the same sunglasses on? So Trayson is actually best friends or good friends, or so he thinks, with the boys on the boat. Does it help you now? While the stories are falling apart and the FBI has stepped in to say, whoa, hold on, Mississippi. We're going to have to step in and clear this up a little bit. It's getting out of control, bro. We can't run with that story. Oh, yeah, Deity Supreme said this matters a lot. I went. Now, we're going to go and look. Trayson, I'm not making this up. It's on your social media. There's no photos of Nolan. And now I understand why the mom said, you can't be a best friend to my son. I don't know you. She didn't lie, Trayson. There's no photos of you and Nolan anywhere on your Facebook. Now, I could have overlooked them, but I didn't go all the way down to 2019. So that means I would have to go down, down, down to find photos of you and Nolan. But they were not obvious. They were not just, they were not there. They were not there. But I'll tell you what was there. You and the boys on the boat. Y'all are really good friends. Hold on. Let me see what else I got. Maybe I'll come back to it. Oops. Wrong. Let me resend it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I got some more photos. And this isn't wrong, but this is going to help you make sense of why are these kids coming out. This is just Trayson living his life in Mississippi. This is his mother. Okay. So I got to give you a little bit of background. We know the background of the boys that are on the boat, but we don't know all the background of the people that are coming out to speak. You get what I'm saying? And if you've been following me for a while, so where am I going with this? A lot of these boys are whitewashed. White people, you're not going to understand. That means they identify more with white than they do black. That's not a right or wrong. It is what it is. And it's almost like subconsciously and consciously, they will lean a little bit more on the white side. What do you mean? For those of you that may be confused, I'll tell you how. When you indoctrinate a particular conditioning, it's almost like a lab rat, right? When you train them to ring the bell for food or go this way, go through the maze, there's food on the other side. No different. Okay? I'll even go way back. I'll put it right in your face. How America was able to implement hundreds and years of slavery by instilling fear, superiority over a group of people that were not native to this country. You use the Bible, you talk about God, and you talk about this and this and that, and what a good friend is and what a good slave is. And before you know it, when slaves used to try to run away, the other slave would tell, because master has been so good to us. Why would you want to leave? So these boys are not doing any wrong, Black people. They've been conditioned to be this way. This is perfectly normal in Mississippi. Hence, the reason why Ben Crump says we got to conduct our own independent investigation and get this thing out of Mississippi. You're not going to get all of the facts of the case from the blacks or the whites. From the blacks or the whites, because this is years and years and years and years of conditioning. And that's why white people, when you see these mulattoes, mixed breeds, full Black boys coming out, and Black people are saying, what are you doing? We are the freed Negroes on the other side of the world. To say, shut up. Why are you involving yourself in something where these people didn't even send a text or a phone call to the parents of the deceased? All right. So you have this kid. Watch this. Give me 1 second. He initially came out. So you got Trayson. Then you have Trevon. Keep up. They're two different kids. Give me 1 second. Trevon initially did an interview with TMZ, but now he's changing his tune. This is him. Damn, I think TMZ removed it. We're not going to be able, I think they just scrubbed it. Now, that's not a good sign. When TMZ scrubs something from their page, it's because something else is coming down. Oh, it's gone. Now he did a new interview. Initially, he was saying, listen, what he said was Nolan was on the island. He said, I got there around 11:30. I saw Nolan. We dapped each other up. Hey, bro. Hey, how are you? I'm good. Love you. Love you. We hung out for a little bit. However, I had to leave because a friend of mine got into a fight. So I had to run a few yards down to a different part of the island to help my friend de-escalate. I want to know why they pulled that interview. When they go scrubbing shit from the internet, there's a reason. Now I'm curious. Here is the fight that the friend was referring to. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. This is the fight that Trevon was referring to, where he said, I was with Nolan. I ran to this fight. In the red shorts, that appears to be Trevon. That's the initial TMZ interview he gave that's in alignment with this video. He said, my friend was fighting, talking about the white boy. He was so amped up, not even his mother could calm him down. So I went down here.
Mas pegar só o menininho? Aham. Mas o homem dele batendo fraqueza é fácil, né? Pega do seu tamanho, doido. Não, esse negócio de vídeo não é para tamanho, não. É negócio que você não pode tomar a primeira. Ó, o velho chegou um grandão. Opa. Vai, grandão. Mete o pé nesse aí, doido. Dá nele. Derruba esse homem aí.
Now, I want to be clear. Initially, Trayson or somebody was saying, oh, what the argument that y'all heard was about the phone. That was about my friend. These people are not arguing over a phone. Let's be very clear.
Vai. Ele vai. Ele vai. Olha lá, ó. Ele vai. Deixa ele ir, gente. Entendeu?
All right. Peace and
All right. So this is the video has been scrubbed. No. Those are adults also. Yes, drunk, right? Remember the kids said there was a lot of drinking going on that island. That's fine. Some of them arrived as early as 10 to 11 a.m. Trevon gave an exclusive interview that has now been scrubbed from the internet to TMZ. If somebody could send that to me, I would love you for life. Where he says, I ran off from Nolan to help my friend de-escalate. But when I came back, listen to me. When I came back, the boat that Nolan was on was gone, and so was Nolan. He said there were two boats tied together. They were both gone. Y'all, Nolan left the island. Javon. Yeah, y'all got me. It's a lot of Ons and Tristans and John. You get it, Javon. He said, after I left that fight to break it up, Javon, that's okay. But see, it shouldn't have been removed because he did it on his own accord. And that's why they need to shut the hell up. As teenagers, shut up. You shouldn't be doing. Javon, I got it. Thank you. Don't put it in the chat no more. I got it. Javon. Okay. And I appreciate everybody. He knew he was a minor, but when you cloud chase and you want to get on TMZ, this is what happens, right? So when he leaves that fight and goes back to the part where Nolan was gone, as well as the boys in the boat. Do you hear me? This was around 3:45 p.m. We know Nolan Wells left that island between 3:30 to 3:45 p.m. Because Javon was still on the island at 3:45. And if you really want to get really technical, There's a woman that sent in her boat and her photos. They were still there at 7:30. Nolan Wells was not there. Now let's get into Katie. We got to get into the aspect of this girl named Katie. Give me 1 second. Hold on. A mouse decided to stop working. So the mother, breaking news, the mother just had a personal conversation with Katie. You're going to be shocked. Those boys are lying. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let's pull it up. Nolan Wells' mother actually got an opportunity to talk to Katie. Kaylee said Nolan left that island. He talked to her, but he left. Nolan Wells' mother has spoken with the young lady that he met on the island named Katie. Here we go. Well, send it to me, y'all. I can't find it. If it's still up, send it to me. Here we go. If y'all are talking about Javon, somebody has to send it via Instagram. All right. According to People magazine, Nolan Wells' mom has spoken with the young woman. Y'all, this was literally like an hour ago that he met at the party. According to Katie, he was on Horn Island at July 4th. She did talk to him. She offered a different version of events that the friends are claiming. She said, nope, that's not what happened. He did not stay behind to talk to me. He left. I talked to him before he disappeared and died. Yes, he was here. Yes, he chit-chatted with me. But the story that they're telling you, no, he didn't stay because he wanted to talk to me. We chit-chatted before he left. And in her initial statement, what she said was he actually cut the conversation short and told her he had to leave because his friends were wanting to go. Let me say it again. The stories are starting to fall apart. Katie's story has been the same since day one. That's all right, Jasmine. I'll be on it. I'll be trying to tell y'all to stay with me. You said, oh, I see the interview is gone. Yes, they scrubbed it. I'm pretty quick. Katie's saying that's not true. What they're saying is not true. Nolan did not stay back with me in hopes for a ride. Y'all focus on me. Don't focus on the trolls. Leave them alone. Let them troll. Come on. He left. And if Katie's saying that they're lying, what they're saying is not true. He did not stay behind to stay with me. Y'all, that girl does not have any dog in this fight. She doesn't have a reason to lie. She could not have hurt Nolan. She doesn't have a motive. She's just a girl. And today she confirmed that to the mother. It says she offered a different version of events. They lying. So if they're lying, the question is, what the hell happened on that boat? And it could have been an accident. But when you conceal an accident, you become an accessor or accessory to crime. Well, they didn't think she was savvy enough. And here's the part about having a stepmother as the judge. You think you're the sharpest tool in the drawer. Just say that he stayed behind. But they never named her. They were smart enough to not name her. You said they're trying to put it on Katie. They never said her name. Roger says, I'm glad Katie spoke up. Well, I'm glad she did too. I'm glad she did too. Because that helps. So now that dispels the fact that Nolan stayed behind to talk to this girl that he was smitten with. And I love the fact that in her initial statement, she actually outlined and validated everything that his parents were saying. Hold on, Nolan's very responsible. He ain't stand behind to talk to no girl. She said, no, he cut the conversation short. Not in those words, but he told me he had to go. Now, Nolan Wells' mom said that she spoke with the young lady who spent time with Nolan on the island before he disappeared and died. She said initially Katie reached out to her, just a basic, hey, how you doing? Hello. Katie did what the judge haven't done. Katie did what the boys still have not done. These boys and family members and community who claim that they love Nolan, have known him ever since. She was able to issue a level of humanity that the people that he were with have failed to do. Now, Christine said, initially when she confronted Katie, tell me what happened to my son. I know he stayed back to see you. Katie said, no, ma'am, that's not true. He left. And the mother said, well, that's not what I'm getting from other people. And what the mother is saying is there's been inconsistencies in the boys' stories. And the reason why the FBI has now stepped in is because the sheriff has not done his job. Initially, the sheriff wanted to close this case. If you remember, but now the sheriff has changed his tune and gives the latest on where they are in the investigation. Uh-oh, I just realized that it's not allowing you all to see it. Give me 1 second. I just realized that it did not allow you all to see it. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So now the sheriff, I'm going to say your hand has been forced. Let me know when you can see this. All right, here we go.
Weeks since Nolan Wells' body was found on Horn Island. As the country sits and waits for the investigations to conclude, many questions are still left to be answered. Today, I spoke with Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter on where the investigation stands. Speculation continues as to what happened to 18-year-old Nolan Wells over Independence Day weekend. Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter met with WLOX to give what updates he could. However, considering
this investigation is active, it's ongoing,
he wasn't able to confirm much. Ledbetter did confirm that interviews have been conducted with witnesses and the department has been in contact with other departments and agencies, including the FBI. The investigation has benefited from information brought by the community.
This recent week, we've got a lot of valuable information that has come from the public. We put out a call to action last week for that information, and it has been very productive for us.
Many are preparing for the return of Wells' autopsy. However, toxicology testing is conducted by outside laboratories, and the analysis and review process can take several weeks. A spokesperson for the Mississippi Department of Public Safety states every case is unique and deserves a thorough review. Therefore, cases cannot all be handled the same way or in the same timeline. While theories circle social media, those who are close to Nolan are still waiting for closure, as one friend spoke in an ABC interview.
I think everybody needs to let the investigation continue and let let the facts be shown. And if the fact shows that somebody harmed Nolan, I hope that there is justice brought. And if it was a tragic accident and somebody didn't speak up, I still hope justice is brought. The facts is the only thing that's going to overturn.
Trayson, this is Trayson Shepard. That's the one that I showed you. That's friends with two of the boys on the boat. And he had photos of two of the boys on the boat on his Facebook. I'll show you those photos again. These are the photos. I'm sorry that I'm going back and forth, but some of you are just getting here. So it's important that I give you the details and the information in real time. This is one of the photos of Trayson and one of the boys from, appears to be one of the boys from the boat in the sunglasses with the short hair. This is the other guy in the gray suit that's on the outside to the left of Nolan. Okay, this guy with the long hair. Right here. Okay, so Trayson, if you want us to just wait for the investigation, then you got to quit talking, pushing us in a different or opposite direction of the investigation. You too have to follow your own advice. Now, let's go back here. Trayson said if it was a freak accident. Did you hear that? Watch this.
Justice is brought. And if it was a tragic accident and somebody didn't speak up, I still hope justice is brought.
That could be it right there. It could be it right there. Did you, that could be it right there. Something happened on that boat that was not intentional, but the fact is, or maybe they are covering it up and somebody just didn't speak up and they were scared. I don't know. But did you hear him say that? And he's friends with two of the boys on the boat.
Justice is brought. And if it was a tragic accident and somebody didn't speak up, I still hope justice is brought. The facts is the only thing that's going to overturn. Brought. And if it was a tragic accident, and if the fact shows that somebody harmed Nolan, I hope that there is justice brought. And if it was a tragic accident and somebody didn't speak up, I still hope justice is brought. The facts is the only thing that's going to overturn that. So that's what I'm just waiting patiently to see.
Now, nobody has given us that scenario or hypothetical scenario except Trayson. Why is that important? Because Trayson is the only one that we can go back and draw a line, a direct line to two of the boys on the boat. A tragic accident. Nobody intended for Nolan to die. Nobody wanted to watch Nolan die. Do you remember that? When Trayson said that initially in his other interview. Let me refresh your memory. No one intended for him to die. No one wanted to watch him die. Listen very closely.
Latest on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. For the first time since Wells' body was found, we're hearing from a friend of the 18-year-old who was with him on the day that he died. Trayson Shepard, who says that he was with Wells on the 4th of July, but declined to speak on camera because of the threats that he says he's been receiving.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it.
Okay, what? Trayson is putting himself in a situation. He's saying we did no wrong. So now my question is, when Nolan left the island, because I'm almost sure he left, did he leave on the original boat, or were there a few people? Because Javon said there were two boats tied together. He don't know which one Nolan got on, but he got on one. Trayson, were you there? Because you're speaking as if you were there.
We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short.
Ike, what more are we learning?
So who saw him die? I believe you. Were you there on that boat? And if you were, or were you on the other boat next to his boat, the one that was tied together, that Javon said they left. When he came back, both boats were gone. What are you aware of?
The latest on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. For the first time since Wells' body was found, we're hearing from a friend of the 18-year-old who was with him on the day that he died. Tristan Shepard, who says that he was with Wells on the 4th of July, but declined to speak on camera because of the threats that he says he's been receiving.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die.
He hung on to die. We didn't even know you were around, to be honest, until you started talking. We were just focused on the other boys. Okay. I'm going to go with this one. Merck Corey says this was not an accident. What they're trying to do is make an out for the guilty parties because this entire case is heating up. People aren't buying what they are selling, and the feds are getting involved. Okay, that's a good point. Now let's go to the interview that the other friend gave that TMZ scrubbed from their page. Let me tell you something. Here we go.
Javon, have you seen the video that's been going around social media where people think that they're hearing an argument between people and they're wondering whether or not Nolan is one of the people in that argument? You just described that you had another friend, not Nolan, another friend who was in and got into a dispute. Is that video the other argument that you were talking about?
Yes.
So, but is that Nolan in the video?
I can't tell. It's too far away. But in that video, I feel like the voices are too clear. Like from the side, it's too clear for it to be that far away, for it to be Nolan arguing. And then also that altercation, it sounds just like my other friend that got into the altercation on the boat. And they were trying to, like, as he was in the altercation, I was calming him down. They were trying to get him out off the island. They were trying to get him back to land because he was just losing it. So
describe that. That's kind of interesting. What was that about?
He was just very hostile. Like he was just like really like mad. Like they were just trying to, like the parents on that boat were trying to get him out.
I'm curious if the police have, I know they said they're still investigating. Did any investigators ever speak to you about what you saw that day?
No, sir.
Really?
Okay.
Cops have not talked to you yet.
No, sir.
Now, the police were ready to close this. The sheriff in Mississippi he was there on the island. He witnessed an altercation. He saw Nolan. He dapped Nolan up. He was the one that gave us the time frame. Oh, I saw Nolan I got to the island about 11:30, 3:45. Nolan was gone. I had to separate from Nolan and his group because my friend was fighting on the other side. But when I came back, the two boats that Nolan could have been on were gone. Did the sheriff talk to you? Nope. Never interview you? No. And the sheriff initially had said, no foul play. Sir, you haven't even interviewed everybody that could have helped you establish a timeline. You know why? Because you gave the benefit of the doubt to the boys on the boat who happened to be related to a judge. Let's continue.
I don't see why the cops would have to talk to me. I mean, obviously, like, you know, like I had said my plea, like, because whenever I had talked to the people at Sunheard, it was whenever, you know, the body was discovered and the autopsy people and all those people were there.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm surprised. Because you knew Nolan well, and you knew that he was friends with these guys who were the last ones to be around him before his body was found. And I would think they would at least want to know, hey, just the things we're asking.
Right.
You know, did you ever hear of any of this stuff?
So now you have an indication from Harvey, who's I don't know if he still practices law, but he's very familiar with criminal defense and criminal, litigation, right? Very experienced, worked alongside one of the attorneys or supplemental attorneys on the Diddy trial in the federal court case with the Southern District of New York. Even he's saying And this is the part where I'm talking about the conditioning in the South, where this young man is so naive that he doesn't even think that the police should talk to him about his dead friend. Oh, no, they don't need to talk to me. To hell they don't. You were also one of the last people to see him before he disappeared. You can corroborate, validate, or dispel anything that they're saying, only for us to find out that the sheriff didn't even do their due diligence of interviewing all witnesses that laid eyes on Nolan that day.
Stuff. It's odd to me.
Just to gather information.
Yeah, that the cops wouldn't have
investigation.
contacted you. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, I'm completely fine with that. Like I said, I have nothing to hide. Like, that's my boy, and I want him to find justice. Like that, like this whole case thing, like whatever, like this whole situation, and none of this adds up to me. So like, it's really hard, like, for like people to just like keep on saying things when like none of it adds up, honestly.
Javon, have you seen the video that's been...
Now watch this. I'm going to give you the interview that he did today that has people in an outrage because they believe that that the other side may have gotten to him, coerced him, talked to him into saying, oh, no, that's not Nolan. Now listen to this today. Hence the reason the thumbnail is titled right here, "The stories are beginning to fall apart." You know why? Because the FBI is now involved. And they're going to oversee the sheriff's department, the sheriff's office in Mississippi. You got to do your job now. But listen to this.
You were on the island on the 4th. You were on a different boat. Do you recall seeing him at all that day?
Yes, ma'am. I did see him when I was out there on the island.
Can you tell me what you saw? Does anything seem strange to you about the difference that people are saying of how he was separated from the group?
No, ma'am. I don't think that Nolan would say, hey, bro, I'm staying with this girl on the island. Y'all go ahead and go back without even bringing it, like not even asking to get his phone back. You know what I mean? I don't think that any of that.
What makes you so sure about that? Because, I mean, obviously you've been with him. You spent a lot of time with him. Did you know him to be someone to leave his phone or even say, you guys go without me?
Never. I've never known Nolan to stay back while his friends leave. He's always been a guy where if he rode with you, he's going to come back with you. That's always how he's been every single time.
You know, this friend of his, Trayston, also told ABC that video people have been talking about that was said to show some sort of altercation, it did not involve Nolan. He said it was actually him yelling in the video and that you and a family member were holding him back because he'd been in a fight. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am. We were calming Trayston down in the video where he said, give me my effing phone back. It sounds like him. So I'm pretty sure that he was right on that, but...
Javon, I'm so sorry to think about what you must be going through and thinking about what's happened to Nolan. I mean, you mentioned the phone. Tashima, a huge question so many people have.
Now, let me tell you who these people are. This kid was still at the island when Nolan went missing. Nolan came to the island a little bit earlier than this kid. This kid arrived between 11:15 and 11:30 a.m. And at 3:45, he said Nolan was nowhere to be found. And the two boats that Nolan could have been on were gone. This kid is the son of the mother of Tashima. Tashima is the lady that Nolan's mom called once she realized or had been notified that Nolan was missing. So she calls this mom to say, hey, wait a minute, ask your son, has he seen Nolan? Yeah. They're all back? Yeah. Nolan didn't come back from the water. Oh, wait a minute, let me, and here it is.
Is why he would have left his cell phone behind. And you say you were the person who actually went and retrieved that phone for the family. How did you get your hands on the phone? Where was it?
That is correct. Christine called me and told me, hey, where are the boys? Nolan hasn't been heard from since such and such time. Where are your boys? I said, well, Javon is with his girlfriend, and I just spoke with Jalen, and they are headed to downtown, which I was literally getting ready to get in the shower to go downtown as well. She said, well, Nolan hasn't been. So I instantly called with Christine on the phone, Javon. Javon said, no, he hadn't seen Nolan since early on the island. And he was like, what? Are y'all serious? He was like, yes. And so Christine intervened in the conversation, said, Nolan has not been heard from since he left the island. So Javon was like, well, that's when I seen it. I haven't seen it since then. Again.
Write this down. Nolan had not been heard from since he left the island, which was between 3:30 and 3:45 p.m. Nolan Wells did not remain on the island. So that leaves me to believe Nolan Wells was dead between, I'm going to say, if they pulled out from the northwest part of the island, if you look at the northwest corner where his body resurfaced, they didn't get too far out before he came off that boat.
Again, everybody goes their separate ways. So I then hang up from Javon because obviously there's nothing he can say to tell me anything. So then Jalen, I call him. Jalen did not answer the phone. Christine again is on the phone. Jalen did not answer the phone. LeBaron, I called, he didn't answer the phone. I called LeBaron, which is their other friend, LeBaron Broomfield. He answered. He said, Jalen is in the gas station. Hold on. So he said, hey, Jalen, Mom on the phone. So I was like, Jalen, like, what's up, Mom? What's going on? I was like, hey, have y'all heard from Nolan? They said, no, we have not heard from Nolan.
But where was the phone?
So I was like, well, okay. So that's when we started checking the phone. Well, for Christine, it said one place, but for them on Snapchat, it showed another place. So that's the place we went to. And it showed that everybody that was in the house, it was like a lot of people there. Like it was, I'm not familiar with all the kids. I only know like one there, but it showed that the phone was at what a lot of people were at. So that's how we knew where to go to. We went there. They were all there. They were sitting there, lights off, watching TV.
Y'all, did you hear this? Nolan's phone is pinging, tracking. They arrive to a house full of individuals that are seated in the dark with the lights off, watching a movie.
Did they immediately give you the phone? Because knowing that phone was there.
It took about 15. They did. They gave me the phone, but it took about 15 minutes to get.
15 minutes for her to convince them to give her the phone. Imagine arriving. The mom is like, where is my son? Where is my son? By this time, we know he's in the water. Okay. We know he's in the water, period. Because his body washed afloat. It resurfaced in the water. So she gets there. It takes fucking 15 minutes for them to hand over the phone.
Get the phone because I even asked, I'm like, did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island to get the phone, or like, where's the phone? Because it took so long when they said it was when Wyatt told me it was in his truck. It took him so long to get the phone back to me.
I'll say this, based on the mother's admission, if it's true, if there's any ounce of deletion, this is probably when they started deleting crap off of the phone. This is probably why it took so long for them to give the phone. I don't think they took the phone on the boat and deleted. I think shit got real when these people showed up to their house and they're like, oh, crap. Oh, crap. Okay. That's probably why. Now, I don't know this to be true, but that's probably why. Here's the thing. If it is true, the metadata will show it. Kids, men, women. There's no such thing as deleting. there is a cloud that's stored in Neverland. And should your number come up and should you decide to get involved in things that are against the law, they can go and retrieve anything that you decide to delete. That metadata is going to show us if the deletion aligns with the 15-minute gap that these people had to wait for the phone.
So when they brought the phone back,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tashima. I want to hear that.
when they brought the phone, after I said something about it, he was like, well, she's going to get it. I was like, who's going to get it? He's like, the girl's going to get the phone.
You were on the island on the 4th. You were on a different boat.
So there's a girl that's now involved who's not Katie that hid the phone and went and got the phone, quote unquote, for the boys. The phone was supposed to be in Wyatt's truck. Let's go to a different, hold on. Let me go to this one. I want to continue this conversation. Here's more to it. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
That is correct. Christine called me and told me, hey, where are the boys? Nolan hasn't been heard from since such and such time. I then hang your boys. I said, well, Javon is with his girlfriend, and I just spoke with Jalen, and they are headed to downtown, which I was literally getting ready to get in the shower to go downtown as well.
Mm-hmm.
She said, well, Nolan hasn't been. So I instantly called with Christine on the phone, Javon. Javon said no, he hadn't seen Nolan since early on that.
I want to jump in here really quick. A lot of times, well, not a lot, it's a scientific fact that we recruit early in the military because it's easier for kids to be able to kill in groups. Their brains aren't really formed yet, fully formed. And that's why the military recruits at an early age, okay? So I don't want you to be shocked if there's something that comes out that indicates a crime occurred and these kids are covering up, because these are the same kids that we exploit and utilize to go to war. Okay? Maybe not these kids, but it's the mindset. You get what I'm saying?
Hang up from Javon because obviously there's nothing he can say to tell me anything. So then
let's go to the next clip. Give me 1 second.
So that's the place we went to. And it showed that everybody that was in the house, it was like a lot of people there. Like it was, I'm not familiar with all the kids. I only know like one there, but it showed that the phone was at what a lot of people were at. So that's how we knew where to go to. We went there. They were all there. They were sitting there, lights off, watching TV.
Did they immediately give you the phone? Because knowing that phone was there.
It took about 15. They did. They gave me the phone, but it took about 15 minutes to get the phone. Because I even asked, I'm like, did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island to get the phone? Or like, where's the phone?
Now, at this point, you have to excuse her from saying that because nobody knows that Nolan is dead with the exception of the kids in the room. So she can be jovial. Oh, what golly. Because, you know, at this point, Nolan stayed back to hang out with a girl.
Because it took so long when they said it was, when Wyatt told me it was in his truck, it took him so long to get the phone back to me. So when they brought the phone back.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tashima. I want to hear that.
So we can deduce that during this time period, Wyatt may have been deleting Snapchats or any type of evidence or proof that Nolan was on that boat headed back and headed out. The mom said there was no evidence from his phone that he had even gone out to the lake that day. And we know he went out there because the photos surfaced from somebody else's phone. This is wild. This is crazy. Let's listen to young ladies that claim to have the details of the autopsy of Nolan Wells.
All right, so we want to talk about Nolan Wells today.
So today, we actually know someone that works transporting bodies, human remains, and things like that. So today I got a call from that person, and they were just talking about the body that they
Came across. This was Nolan Wells.
So before knowing all that, he said that the body was mistreated.
Yeah.
It looked abused. It looked like he was tortured. Looked as if he was burnt, maybe.
Where?
Face, body, said he was burnt.
Wow. If this is true, because we don't know. We didn't deal with the body. We're not the medical examiner. If there's any ounce of truth that the body may have been, quote unquote, mishandled, face looked like it was burnt. For those that are really skilled in boating, how could that happen? What may have happened? Give me a scenario on a boat, not water, where a body, a face would look burnt. We're all asking this. Why this information should have never been leaked to the public, but I believe it to be true. I don't think these kids realize they're not supposed to be saying that. Now, they did not handle the body. They're saying somebody close to them handled the body, transported the body. Let's continue.
And not only that, his body was mistreated when they transported him.
So as they were transporting him, he was actually face down. So everyone knows when you're transporting the body, when only a couple of people work that job, they all know you don't transport the body face down. That's kind of very disrespectful. So you always have them face up. Well, specifically his body whatever reason was face down. And me personally, I took that as disrespect.
Yeah.
Heart goes out to the family.
Yes, definitely.
Because all we know is what they put out
on the internet.
But today we actually found out a lot about his autopsy without even reading the autopsy.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
I'm so sorry that family have to go through this. Really just
want to give our condolences to the family. As a mom, we're moms,
grandmothers,
dads, family, period. Just we give the most prayers to you, and we stand behind you because we know right what really happened.
Right. So,
and at the end of the day, whatever lies those families have covered up, or whatever lies they're trying to cover, we're sorry.
Yeah.
And we're here for you, and we just want you to know that what was seen today
was unacceptable. It's unacceptable, and that's why we want to inform what's going on during the transport. Like that,
something you can be quiet on
at all.
When you see.
So this took place. I'm gonna say probably about 7 to 8 days ago. This video is just so it sounds like this was we're just getting this. Nolan's body may have been transported July 6th or 7th. So we're looking at 9 days ago, maybe 9 days ago. And they're saying there was a mistreatment of the body from the initial onset of how you're supposed to, best practice protocol, transport a body. You transport it face up, not face down. Why is the autopsy taking so long? I'm going to say, and I don't know because I'm not a medical examiner, I'm going to probably say toxicology, lab work, inconclusive results. If what these girls are saying, body being burnt, I don't know. And then I don't even want to guess, to be honest with you.
Something so heartbreaking as a child, go through something traumatic.
Yes.
It hurts to know that was done to him in the ways that we can't even express.
Right.
And as a person, you should have some type of humanity.
Right.
And I felt like those people who was transporting him did not have humanity in no way, shape, or form. Because if I can feel the way I feel about the situation, just listening to what happened, you also can listen to what happened to this child. Right. Because at the end of the day, that is a child that you did that to. Right. So this child needs justice.
Justice.
Because
Justice
we're not going to sleep until he gets it.
At all. And I heard the feds are in Mississippi right now. So justice for Nolan Wells.
Oh, y'all, this is bigger than what we think. There's been a mishandling of the body. Now, I want to play devil's advocate for a quick second. I'm not going to be able to cover everything today. I will come back to this. I promise you. I promise you. We're just going to break it down one bite at a time. If there's a mishandling of the body, can we assume that the body was in such bad condition that the transporters couldn't take looking at the body? And they had to turn the face down, even though it's deemed disrespectful, even though it goes against protocol. Why would they turn the body face down in a body bag? And now the feds have touched down. What happened on the boat? A burning body is DNA. You said burning body is DNA. Oh, okay. Could something, maybe, I don't know. Let's continue.
No matter what.
Our heart goes out to his mom, his family, everybody.
And just know, families, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. We're going to open up the lines. This is what we're going to do. I got 15 minutes. We're going to take the callers. For those of you that would like to call in, give your thoughts. You guys, I can't let you write a thesis. I can't let you just go and go, because we're going to have people that are going to want to get in here and just give their opinion. If this is your first time here, welcome. We are not a echo chamber. I mean, we just speak your piece. Speak your piece. You got 30 seconds to fire off. Okay? I'm going to pin the link to the top of the chat. When you hear this sound, even if you're in the middle of your thought, when you hear this sound, your time is up. Your time is up. So I'm going to wait for you all to click the link. Open lines. What are your thoughts? And from what I'm gathering, it sounds like the meeting with the DA was bullshit today. I told you, stay over here. Stay over here. We're 3 steps ahead. It sounds like the family's still being left in the dark. Can I be honest to you guys? Nolan Wells' family stopped taking meetings. Right now, they're checking off the list. There's a lot of heat. There's a lot of pressure. They don't mean business yet. It's no different than a dude that gets caught cheating. He's going to say and do everything in the first 24 hours. Hang him out to dry a little bit. 3 days he can get through. 7 days, then you really start to watch him go cold. Do your own independent investigation. Stop sharing. Stop meeting. Put your foot down. Make them work. We're going to go to the first caller. Honeydew Brown.
Hi, Queen. Can you hear me?
Yep. What are your thoughts?
So, one I wanted to say, because, well, first of all, you do such an awesome job. And I'm kind of new to the channel. This is my first time calling in. So I just wanted to say you do such an awesome job. One of the things I wanted to say about the young lady that said that he didn't stay with me, I think a lot of people are probably going to end up being mad at her because they wanted her to stay on code. And she didn't stay on code. So I want to give her a partial kudos for that, for not staying on code and saying the truth. Like, look, he didn't stay with me. So I don't know what happened, but he didn't stay with me. And also for them to say that he left his phone. I don't know about anybody else. I don't remember nobody's number. So how would he been able to get in contact with anybody? Even if he said, go ahead, I'll catch up with y'all later. How would he get in contact with anybody if all of his numbers and things would be in his cell phone? So when people say it's not about race, maybe it might not be about race to you, but it's always race when it comes to black folks. And I said, what the fuck I said. Y'all have a good one.
All right, that's Honey Brown. Let's go to the next caller. Angela, welcome. Angela, what are your thoughts? Hold on. Let's go to Angela.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. What are your thoughts, Angela?
This is all crazy to me. There has been multiple stories out. 1 second, the kids dropped a picture saying that he came back from the island and we had a pool party afterwards with everybody there. And then all of a sudden, there's also, well, he never came back from the island. We left him there to talk with a girl. It's not making sense. It's not connecting. I don't get it at all. And the young man,
Go ahead.
Javon, and the young man, Javon, when he came back and he kind of ended his sentence with a but, and it was just a breath of air right there, lets me know that he doesn't really know if that was the young man arguing or not, which means he just should have said, I don't know, and kept it pushing. It's just crazy. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you, Angela. That's Angela. She said that's all she got. This doesn't make sense. Y'all, let me just tell you something. When it doesn't make sense, you don't have to accept it. It's probably because it's not true. Nolan got on that boat. The question is what happened after that. It's beginning to look like a cover up. I'm not one to jump on conspiracy theories immediately. I like to kind of keep my head in the sand and go and do a deep dive. I like people to talk. I want to get a feel for it. Do your 1 or 2 interviews. So even though I'm not on it, I'm on it. There's so much information coming at us fast, quick, in a hurry. I don't like to go for the bait. I have to sift it out. Let me see. What makes sense? That doesn't make no sense. There's no freaking way he can be at a party when a Coast Guard was called at 11 p.m. I know that's not true. Why? Because it's on record. Okay, that's not true. Who would want us to believe that's true? Definitely not Nolan. He's dead. Okay. Who would this be in favor of? Okay. Deity Supreme says, Queen, because you usually play devil's advocate, but you're straightforward with this one. Oh, it's easy to me. To me, this one is easy. You're lying. You're not being, well, let me use a nicer word. You're not being forthcoming. It doesn't even add up. You were about to get away with whatever, even if it were an accident, because of your privilege. Period. Let's go to Providence. Welcome, Providence. What are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Hi, Queen Shiba. I love your work. You're doing a great job as always. Please ignore my car. It's going to probably start sounding off in a minute. But I just wanted to say real quick, remember, for Nolan's body, according to, is it the Cajun Navy or something to that, something like that, that organization that helped find his body, they said that his body was not waterlogged. So that tells me that he wasn't in the water, that he did not drown, or he did not, his lungs were not filled with water, so he likely did not die by drowning. He likely was murdered, especially in accordance with the testimony of the nurses. That lines up with what the Cajun Navy said when they said that his body was not waterlogged, meaning that he was likely killed outside of the water, and then his body was dumped later. So I just wanted to But of course, we don't know anything for sure until the autopsy does come out. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that was noted. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I have that Cajun Navy interview. I don't remember him saying that he was killed or waterlogged or not. I do remember him saying that where he was found, it's unlikely that he was swept away by current or the water changed directions or the tide, because just not in that area. That he was very clear on. If you want to hang out, I'm going to go to the next callers and I'll play that video and I can stop it for you to elaborate. But you would have to go on mute and hang out with me, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I'll be on mute.
Okay, go ahead and mute up. All right. I love it when y'all come up here with good points. I love it. Okay, so Matina V brings up a good point. Matina says, what if they just let him drown, but it was an accident, but they didn't try to save him? Let me ask you something, Matina. If you see someone drowning and you have access, I don't know, we're just speaking hypothetically, you have access to a life jacket or a y'all, what's the thing? The little round thing looks like a donut, and you don't throw it. Is that an accident? Crash, welcome, Crash. What are your thoughts, Crash?
I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures, but there's some really ironic pictures that show the pool that they were in, and behind the pool is the boat with the dock on it. It's at the judge's house. There's the pool from the 4th of July, and then in the day, there's a picture of Tristan and the other kid standing in front of the in front of the it's an infinity pool, and behind there is a direct shot from the judge's house to the island. She has a literal boat launch in her backyard. You can see it right on the internet.
Tell me where you're going with it.
They could have did anything with that boy, but what I think is they found out he was missing. He could have went back to that house. That's why I think Mr. Crump posted that picture, and then took him back out there, because there's 2 accounts by girls that said that there was a fight at the house, and everybody's saying that there was no fight, but then everybody's saying that there was a fight. And all we know is there was an altercation, and boom, Nolan comes up missing.
Okay. All right. That's your final thoughts, Crash?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Those are Crash's final thoughts. Oh, it's a lot, y'all. So Matina, we're going to play the video. You said he was found where the kids say they last saw him. Actually, not exactly. I'm going to play the video. I don't want to quote the rescuer. He's going to tell you exactly where he was found. Hang out. Let's go to the next caller. Sexy RN, welcome. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, first, you asked about burns and how would he get burns. The only thing in a boat would be the motor or the battery, but that would be purposeful if somebody did that. Also, I know we were talking about this before with something else, but autopsies generally don't take but 24 to 48 hours, especially with a supposed drowning. That's something you would know almost immediately by the lungs. I wonder if they bothered to really do it until recently, which also would skew the time of death, because that's something that needs to be determined really fast. Like, that's something you really want to jump on top of. So if they weren't really interviewing people, why would we think that they were really doing an autopsy? They could say anything just to appease, oh, it's a drowning, if he was planning on closing the case without the autopsy. The toxicology is what takes weeks to come back.
I'm listening. Let me. So Sexy RN is a cardiovascular ICU nurse. Did I get it right?
Yes.
She helped us break open the Ashley Janae Robinson case. When the man said that's the gentleman that took his quote unquote fiance to Tanzania and she ended up dead. And he said he killed herself. And we read the medical report from the convenience care clinic. And you said that can't be true, because if this were happening, the first thing is to clear the airspace. You want the patient to breathe. So y'all, we have some strong medical professionals over here. She's one of them. Thank you, Sexy RN.
You're welcome.
All right. Freshly, welcome. What are your thoughts? Freshly, you have the floor. I'll go to the next caller. Pay the bill. You're on standby. Freshly, welcome in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go to the next caller. Pay the bill. Welcome. What are your thoughts on today's conversation?
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, good. What you got?
Well, I was gonna say, sending out condolences and love, understanding, and healing to the family. Um, the kid that said it could have been a freak accident on the boat, if because I do feel the foul play in it, but if it was a freak accident, they did say they was taking the boat back for electrical problems. That would go consistency with his body being burned.
Mm, okay. Okay.
Just something to think about. But
All
I
right.
do still feel foul play in the energy of everything. So, I send my prayers out to everything and pray for exposure and justice for the kid. Nobody deserves, and love to the
Uh,
family.
all right. That's paid. All right. I'm going to the next callers. If you happen to have YouTube playing in the background, go ahead and turn it down. You're just going to have to trust me. It's like candy. Welcome. What are your thoughts?
Hey, lady. So, I wanted to go back to the burning. So, another mode of how the burns could have ended up on his body is most boats have a flare gun just in case they lose power and they're dead in the water. They can shoot one off, and the Coast Guard can see them. That can also be used as a weapon to be shot at you. It's basically like a firecracker, but that could also create burns. The other thing is that I do forensics now, PRN, where I work with the medical examiner to help with tissue eye donations. So I read a lot of ME reports now. And the body being turned over is such an egregious thing with you can't like that's pretty big. So yes, does it happen? Do we sometimes flip the bodies over? Yeah, but that would be when they're on the slab. That's not going to be when they're in the body bag. And so if the body was transported upside down, yes, that is going to be something that definitely is against protocol. I don't care if the body's been burned or um, like here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, lots of people like to take a shotgun and shoot their head. Once they make heads or tails of your body, they still anatomically put you back in a supine position, meaning on your back, zip you up, put a toe tag on your toe. If you still have your big toe, right? Just so they can kind of make heads or tail when they get back to the ME's office. So if the body was transported face down, it doesn't shock me because things aren't going correctly in this down there, but that is against protocol. That's an egregious error, and something can if it's truly something that has happened, yes, the family would have cause if they can prove it. Now, of course, that's just hearsay. There's unless the person that transport is willing to say he witnessed that and put his risk his job, then unfortunately there's not going to be much they can do. But no, you're not allowed to transport a body upside down unless you have extenuating circumstances. That's all.
Let
I'm
me
gonna drop
ask
back.
you. No, no, no,
Go,
no.
go
Real
for it.
quick before you go, from your experience with working alongside the medical examiner, why would they transport his body with the body upside down? In your
The
opinion?
in my opinion, the only reason if things are torn off, if ligaments are missing, if you've been disemboweled, if your kidneys are missing, if something's wrong with your back, if there's a lot of things on your back that may be a problem, like maybe, like for example, I've had a case where a lady, she was changing a tire and she got hit by a car. So she was kind of like roadkill in a sense. Her face kind of
Okay.
so they had to make sure they scraped as much as they could of her body off of the highway, but they did still put her as best as they could in the bag a certain way.
I
so that
gotcha.
the ME can make all his
Okay.
necessary assessments.
Let
So
me ask
that's why
you
I'm, go ahead.
one final question. Is there a possibility that those girls that we watched on that TikTok video could be telling the truth? Yes or no?
Yes, there is a possibility that
Okay.
they could tell
And
the truth. Yes.
okay. And if they are telling the truth, is it because there is a possibility that Nolan Wells' body was in such dire condition?
This is true. It could be, I just can't think of any major, unless something's wrong with his backside or his back legs, maybe. Like if there's been something wrong with the skeleton is exposed in the back, or something of the sort is wrong with you get what I'm saying? Some reason why we have to turn you prone. But
Okay.
other than
Okay.
that, I don't know. Yeah.
Wow, I just love my audience. Thank you for coming up. It's
Okay.
like candy. We appreciate your medical expertise. Woo, y'all, come over here. Trust me, for what I can't handle, we got the medical experts, the legal eagles, and all of those people. Let's go to Lady Tia's t-shirts. What are your thoughts on today's conversation? Welcome.
Hey, good evening, Queen. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, good. I'm not in the medical field or legal, but Jesus, that is beautiful. The ladies in the palace, y'all sound great on this microphone, telling us the good stuff. But I do have a question. I don't know if anybody has brought it back up, but wasn't the father the one who said that there was a couple that camped out that night? If that's true, and maybe you can play that back of the father talking about that there was someone camped out or a couple camped out. Where were they camped out at?
His words were there were two families that stayed overnight on the island.
Right.
Two
So
families.
where were they in the area? Because we seen the picture of the island, the video of the island. It's not very many. It's not trees around. So couldn't they be questioned as
But
into
there's swampy
what they?
areas too. You have to take into consideration there's swampy areas. There's pockets of areas that has cactus and almost like terrain that human beings just can't be on. Initially, the Cajun Navy reported that people tried to send them in the wrong direction. That they said Nolan was last seen in a particular spot of the island, and he said there's no way. If he had on blue shorts, he didn't wear a t-shirt and he's barefoot, there is no way he can be in this part of the island because the cactus and the brush is so thick, he would have been forced to turn around just because the skin and the foot and barefoot, he just couldn't make it over here. So initially they were pushed in that direction, right? And then he didn't say who. He declined to comment. We're about to play it. They were pointed in the northwest pocket of the island. And if you think about the northwest pocket, that's kind of where the boats are pulling off from. That's one of the directions that's going to lead to open water. And when the interviewer said, did you find the body exactly where Nolan was last seen? He said, not where he was last seen, but definitely in that area. Does that help?
That helps a little bit better, but I still wanted to know where would these people not be able to see some type of interaction or some type of commotion going on if they camped out. That's where I stand with that. Did y'all see anything?
On the island.
Yeah, that's where I stand with that one. But thank you.
No problem. All right. I'm going to go to my last caller and then I'm going to re-roll the tape because y'all are saying, can you please play the video of where the Cajun Navy said they found the body? I'm going to do that for you. All right. Freshly, welcome back.
Hey, Queen. I just think on the way back from the island, I think he fell off the boat into like a haphazard situation. Like he slammed his head on the motor leading to the alleged burns. And I think they were like, I don't want to deal with that since they were all drinking and they left him for dead. Because if they was caught with alcohol in their system, I think that would have led to like manslaughter or something, but I'm not quite sure. But since they had time to clear their system, they can't prove they were drinking or drunk. And it now it looked like an accident. Now it looked like an accident. That makes sense.
Okay, so let me ask you this before I let you go. I believe there's a possibility that this was an accident and the kids just got scared and was like, "Oh my God, what the
Yes,
hell?"
because they was drinking and driving the boat. So I think on the way back they was already drinking at the island. So on the way back, they still, I think they were still drinking or they was already, they could have already been drunk or tipsy or whatever. And I think they was like hitting the waves, like when you riding the boats. And I think he fell, and I think when he fell off the boat, he hit the motor, whatever, leading to the burns. And they knew after that they didn't want to deal with it, because it would have been manslaughter, because they was drinking and all that on the boat.
Okay. All right. What do y'all think in the chat? Thank you, Freshly, for coming up.
Okay, thank you.
All right. She said this could have been just a freak accident. You did hear one of the kids say tragic accident. Nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to watch him die. I don't know, y'all. That's her opinion. Don't attack. Don't attack, y'all. We're listen, y'all. Boating under the influence. It happens all the time. All right, let's go to the video really quick. Y'all asked me to replay where they said they found the body. We're going to do that really quick and we are done. Now, I was supposed to have another live. We're not going to do it tonight. We're going to push it to in the morning. Chew on this, marinate on that, okay? And we'll talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta a little tomorrow. Give me 1 second.
A lively holiday atmosphere on Horn Island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast turned into a desperate emergency response operation after the disappearance of 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Nolan and a group of friends went on an excursion to the popular island to celebrate Independence Day. But the atmosphere quickly shifted after friends noticed Nolan failed to return to the mainland as the sun began to set. Authorities said Nolan was last seen on the island at around 3 p.m. and did not return on the same boat as his group of friends. By midnight, his mother contacted the Jackson County Sheriff's Office and reported her son missing. Nolan's distraught mother pleaded for help on social media, sharing photos of her son wearing blue swim trunks and sunglasses, smiling on the boat and huddled around friends. The mom requested the help of the United Cajun Navy, a nonprofit organization that provides for disaster relief. I'm Israel Salas Rodriguez, senior news reporter at the U.S. Sun. Thanks again for joining us. Make sure to click that like and subscribe button to stay tuned for more reports like this one.
Years now.
And shifting over to the Nolan Wells case, can you describe the water conditions surrounding Horn Island for those of us who are not familiar with the area?
Sure. So Horn Island's off the coast of Mississippi. I believe about 10 miles off the coast. It's a 144 square mile island. It's pretty big. It's a location that's in the Gulf of Mexico / Gulf of America, whichever nomenclature you want to use. It's a destination area for boaters, right? Fishermen, boaters, recreational boaters as well. July 4th weekend, the water wasn't extremely rough. It was.
Did you catch that? The water was not extremely rough. Let's continue.
A normal day. I'd say, light swells, maybe up to 1 foot. There is a pretty heavy tidal surge and tidal movement on that portion of the island where they were at. It's a pass between two islands. So there's increased tidal influence right there, along with wind and wave action.
Now, you remember I told you that's a part where the boats can kind of go out and come in, like an entry point, which he describes as a pass. Let's continue.
Okay. And is the area popular during the holiday, during 4th of July weekend?
Extremely popular. All summer long, it's popular. Like I said, there'll be anywhere from a few hundred boats to it could be over 1,000.
And can the water conditions change at all when the sun begins to set around the area?
Sure. Conditions can change rapidly there. It's not exceptionally deep, which calls for the ability for conditions to change quickly.
Can you walk us through the timeline from the moment that Nolan was reported missing?
Sure. So to the best of my knowledge, again, I didn't get a call till that next day. As I appreciate, late that evening, Nolan was on the beach. The vessel that he came with left, and from there, we don't know what happened. Right. Again, I'm just a volunteer. I'm running volunteer operations. I'm not law enforcement.
Okay. So it's important to me to call out that he's reporting hearsay. During the time when Nolan's body resurfaced, they didn't have any information because the boys were saying, I don't remember what happened. All I know is Nolan decided to stay back to hang out with a girl. So when he's saying the vessel that Nolan came on left and Nolan decided to stay back, that's not necessarily fact. That's the only information that he has to go on. His job is not to interrogate anybody. His job is to get out there and search and rescue and find the body. Let's continue.
So what happened really isn't what I'm looking for. What I look for a search is that last known location, and then specifics about the area or specifics about the person. Knowing that that northwest corner of Horn Island was what we call the LKL, last known location. From there, we looked at the weather conditions, tidal conditions, wind conditions to come up with a plan, come up with a grid on what we could do. As within 30 to 45 minutes of when I got notification of him missing from the family and then from the mother, we had surface vessels, that's boats, that were in the area starting to search.
I'm going to say it again, but I like some of the comments that are coming in. Matina says the pass is really dangerous. Where Nolan was found was really dangerous area. I know it's a place that the boats can come in and come out. It's deep enough because he said fishermen go out there. So we know there's pockets where you have to have a level of depth to be able to fish. But also there's shallow areas where you can have kids that can come and party and kind of dock. But where Nolan was found was a pass between two islands. And according to Matina, the pass is really dangerous. And then you have John that's saying, John Hester said, listen, I have a boat. One kick turn, you're overboard. Okay. And I think what you mean is a swift turn, right? Kick turn. I could be wrong now. You got to help me out, John. Sexy RN, thank you for the 50 piece and a pepper. She says, accident or not, this cover up is too large. I agree. And after this accident, they left and watched TV as if nothing happened, as if Nolan didn't matter. When are we going to stop letting our children be sacrificial lambs for lessons we should have learned? I agree with you 1,000%. They should be held accountable. If it were an accident, period, point blank. Let's continue.
We also had 2 drones that were in the air, as well as boots on the island doing a manual walk to look for Nolan there. That next day, yesterday, we had at daylight 4 vessels, 2 more people, as well as a fixed wing aircraft in the air.
So they were out there 2 days, July 5th, July 6th. July 6th is the day that they found Nolan's body. It's important to note that he said, when we received the call, we were out there in 30 to 45 minutes. What does that mean? From land to the island, 10-mile radius, it takes boats about 30 to 45 minutes to reach shore. They were able to dispatch at least 2 to 4 vessels on the ground, and then they provided air cover. They went on the 5th when Nolan's mom, July 5th, when his mother called with a distress call, right? But the Coast Guard received a call July 4th at 11 p.m. and failed to send out any rescue boats or any search and rescue efforts.
In the air that started 6:15ish, 6:30.
And when Nolan's mom did reach out to you, what was her tone like? Did she give you any information that could help in the search?
Oh, absolutely. So, and again, you can understand the frantic. She was frantic. She wanted to know everything that was going on, and what we could do to provide resources, what we could do to help her find her son. I mean, that's issue number one. Find Nolan. But again, she was, with everything that was going on, Miss Christine was extremely calm when she was providing that information, and I asked some very tough questions. And I just wanted to make sure that she understood all the questions that I asked are related to helping me find the location to search.
And when you and your team were on the ground, were you approached by any of maybe Nolan's friends that stayed in the area and that they provide any information to you guys?
It is an active and open investigation, so I'd rather not discuss the.
So at this point, he kind of clams up, and because the only information that they were able to receive, he had to rely on social media, which leads me to believe that the boys lawyered up. The judge was like, don't you talk. That's what I believe. So he couldn't get a lot of information. However, he still can't share what he received or did not receive because he's not a legal eagle. His job is to volunteer to help you find your loved one. But if you listen to the beginning of the interview, he said, I had to rely on social media. What does that tell you? The boys were not enough help to go and retrieve Nolan's body. You guys.
The pieces and parts of who we had conversations with. I will say this is that I don't believe any of the friends stayed.
And what did you know about Nolan's disappearance when you first got that call? Did you know of anything beforehand?
Just basic information, stuff that I gathered off of social media, as well as information from the mother. Nothing that was super relevant to finding Nolan or to searching for Nolan. Just information that he got left on the island. Left or he wasn't there, possibly, hopefully, and as we prayed that he may have made it onto another boat. So what we do is we gather information, right? We gather as much information as possible. We then blast it out to social media. We've got a huge following, and this one went extremely viral to ask for help. The more people that see something, they could possibly say something. So we actually, at the time of him being found, we had people in the air, we had boats on the water, we had boots on the ground, on land, on the mainland as well, looking in 3 different locations where people had said he may have been seen that day, that evening before, or that evening he came up missing. So we take into account everything, every tip, every, hey, go look here. We do that. We do it because we want to make sure we're providing all the resources that we possibly can, checking everything out, and letting the family know that, hey, every life matters to us. It doesn't matter race, creed, color, religion, nationality. I don't care. We want to make sure that every family understands we're putting every bit of effort into it.
Did the search effort shift in any way after the 20?
This is a very important question. The interviewer says, after the first 24 hours, did your search effort shift? Here's what he had to say.
4-hour period when Nolan was still not found?
No, we remained steady with our search and our operations. We coordinated with the local Jackson County Sheriff's Office. We let them know what our grid pattern was. We sent them our grid in our search areas, and we coordinated with them. Again, we notified them and let them know that we would be in the area, in the air, as well as on the ground in multiple locations.
Were there members of the Cajun Navy on the island when the body believed to be Noah was found? And are you able to disclose any details on the whereabouts of the body?
So I would rather not disclose any of the details. It is an open investigation.
Hold on.
We were not.
Let's go back.
Locations. And we coordinated with them. Again, we notified them and let them know that we would be in the area, in the air, as well as on the ground in multiple locations.
Were there members of the Cajun Navy on the island when the body believed to be Noah was found? And are you able to disclose any details on the whereabouts of the body?
So I would rather not disclose any of the details. It is an open investigation. We were not on the island. We were in the air.
And from your understanding, was the body...
So it seems like they were not able to retrieve the body by boat. Now, I need all my boaters, my experts, my water boys to kind of type in the chat or come up. I'll drop the link. They had to use air power to spot the body. They had to use a vessel, an airplane, right? Thank you. Jamal says, Queen Sheba, you are spot on everything. 100% judge on bare bullshit, cap hiding real truth. I cover these cases a lot, right? And I can do it from either side. You want me to play the good cop or the bad cop, right? The facts are the facts. But whatever was done, wherever Nolan was, you guys, they couldn't see by way of boat. Yeah, they were in the air. Matina, yes, they were in the air. But here's the thing. They were in the air when the Ranger found the body floating face down. It seems like the Cajun Navy utilized their resources, their air power to be able to fly over and communicate the coordinates of where the body was to whomever, the Ranger that was on the ground. Oh, you said water chum. That's why. Okay. Let's stay here. Let's continue. Here we go.
Again, believed to be Noah, was it found in the same area as where the 18-year-old was last seen?
As I appreciate it, was within close proximity to that northwest corner of the island. Again, I don't want to get into specifics. It's an open investigation.
And how has social media helped the Cajun Navy in their search and rescue missions or operations?
United Cajun Navy, whenever we get notified of a person missing, typically it's through social media. People understand who we are, they recognize us, and they'll reach out to us through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. We turn around, we utilize those platforms to help get the word out on whoever it is that's missing, right? So I'll start with a quick narrative of who it is, last known location, what they were wearing, if they're going through a mental health crisis, if they may have been in a fight with their girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, whatever pertinent information is there that can help us spread the word. Tattoos, height, weight, clothing. From there, I build this narrative, and then I make a poster, a missing persons poster. It's got all that information on it with as many pictures as possible. And then I do a video. The video will explain, and every one of them's heartfelt. Hey, we're looking for Israel. He came up missing. It's super important that we find him. His family is absolutely upset and distraught. Might be going through a mental health crisis. Whatever it is, I list it out there, and I do it with a lot of emotion, and it's true emotion, sincere. We put that out on multiple platforms, and then the tips start coming in. Here you go. Look, I'm not law enforcement. I'm a volunteer. It's a volunteer organization. We just want to bring these people home. So social media is a huge piece. Again, I don't care how it happens. I don't care how we find these people, as long as they're found and reunited with their family, one way or the other, right? We hope to find them all alive. Unfortunately, that always doesn't happen that way. So social media is a huge tool. And then it's good old just boots on the ground, canvassing the area, canvassing that last known location, talking to people, and really building relationships with them, no matter who it is. Going into that community and saying, hey, we're just a volunteer group trying to bring this person home. What do you know? What do you think? And a lot of times that helps us out. The one thing Israel is, the families, it's interesting because the families always ask the mom and the dad, what's your gut feeling telling you? And more often than not, that mother's intuition is spot on. And they'll tell you after I build a relationship with the mother, particularly.
Y'all, this man is telling you something without telling you something. He's saying, I've done this since the inception of the organization. We are a volunteer organization, and we get the most information from the family members. But at the end of the day, we follow the mother's lead. If the mother believes there's foul play, she's almost spot on 99% of the time. Follow the mother's lead. Watch this. What's your name? Let me see the name. Matina says water chum. Water chum is where you kind of throw bait to kind of get the fish kind of stirred up so that the fishermen would have the advantage of catching the fish that they want, because they can't tell the difference between bait and food and all of that. If Nolan was found in an area of water chum, could it be, and it also attracts sharks, is there a possibility that his body was dumped there with the hopes of the sharks and the predatory fish to feed off of it? Water chum. Churn. Okay. Okay, girl, let me go back. I'm coming back. Water churn. Okay, gotcha.
They know what happened to that loved one. And again, the one thing I can ask for the viewers that are out there, say prayers, right? Prayers mean so much right now, and in everything we do. And I told the family, number one, keep the case alive. Let's make sure that media and that the general public know exactly what's going on, because it is an open investigation, and the truth needs to come out on exactly what happened, because there's a lot of assumptions right now. And I think the general public, as well as the family, truly need to know what happened that day, and what happened to Nolan, what brought.
Did you hear what he said? Keep this alive. If he's telling the family to keep it alive, I'm led to believe it's because he doesn't believe or can't make sense of the initial accounts of the events. We know you left, but you can't really give us a clear story of what happened to Nolan. So he's saying, I told the mom, don't let this die. You have to keep this alive. That, and I have a prosecuting attorney in the chat with over 25 years of experience that's saying, if he's saying keep it alive, that could be indicative of foul play. We're just not getting the full story, you guys. Sorry, not sorry. But when you think about water churn and not chum, it's a continuous stirring or agitation of water by currents, wind, or propellers. I told you, like where boats are going in and out. Whatever happened to Nolan, it was quick. It was quick. And I believe there were witnesses. That's what I believe. Intentional, I don't know. Unintentional, I don't know. Concealed information, absolutely, I believe. And if you're concealing it, you really don't want justice for Nolan. That's it. That's all. I'm done. We're going to come back to this, okay? Okay, some of you believe that Nolan came back with them. I'm glad you're saying this. Actually, let me get to my super chat. Let me read this. You're saying Nolan came back with them. Something happened, and he was placed back on that island, explaining why his phone was back with the boys and Coast Guard call, and he had his phone, so we need to forget he stayed behind. I do believe Nolan did not stay behind, and he got on the boat. But it's going to be hard for them to take him off the island, kill him, and bring him back. Let me tell you why. There's other boats out there that stayed that night. Does that make sense? I'm not saying you're wrong, because there were a few families that stayed the night. Could it happen? If you have boats that are docked that say, we're going to spend the July 4th weekend on the island, is there any way those boats can come out and drop him off in the exact same location where he was last seen to all of my boaters? Yes, no. And can they do it without being spotted by the other families that decided to stay overnight? Would not these families say, I saw a boat come back in? We know it was before 11 p.m. Okay, let's just say your hypothesis is true, Samantha. I'm not saying it's not. They would have had to taken him back out there before 11 p.m. because the initial call to the Coast Guard was made at 11 p.m. If a family on July 4th, firework. I don't know. Don't get me. I don't know. It's just so many possibilities. Jonathan says that screwed up the plan. I don't know, y'all. Yeah. You said that boat was home by 7:30. Sweetheart, I think it's probably, I'm going to give it before 6 p.m. I'm going to give it before 6 p.m. Thank you. Miss Neen said, you did your thing, Queen. Great commentary. I try to. I like to do research. What about the GPS on the boat? I'm not really familiar with how that works. So that would have to be subpoenaed. Only if there's suspicion of a crime or probable cause that a crime occurred. Remember, they were trying to shut this down. Now, the judge, depending on how long she's been a judge, y'all, this is not going to be as cut and dry as you think it's going to be. They're going to have to fight for it. They're going to have to fight for this. And this man said that he told Nolan's mom, don't let it go. don't let this go. That means the condition that he spotted or notated the body or got word of the body doesn't align with the story that the boys are giving. Sim God said, listen, I think Nolan Wells' case may be like Carmelo. We might be disappointed. Okay. Boss Lady Alpha, thank you. You said Queen Xavier did the interview with CNN. Thank you. Thank you, Boss Lady Alpha. Samantha LV, thank you for the 7-piece. You said the heart posture does not lie. Why did he say life taken and not life lost? Language is important, and even in the midst of lies, the truth will speak out. Listen, they did it to Carmelo Anthony. Touch me and see what happens. The DA repeated the words over and over and over. Now, Jade Alexander, thank you for the 5-piece and a pepper. If his body was burned or mishandled, that could explain why he was identified by dental records. Remember, the parents had not been able to view the body. They had to go to dental records. You're right. So there's probably, but the nurse came up and said, there's a possibility. I'm sorry. Not the nurse, but it's like Candy, who works alongside the ME, says, wait a minute. There are times we do turn the body face down when it's not intact. What if the body, maybe the boys pulled out. I don't know. I'm not making excuses. And decided to swim. And maybe we're getting a portion of the story that's accurate, but on the wrong place of the island. Maybe Nolan was on that boat and the 2 boats pulled off and they docked somewhere else. Because sometimes you get out and swim. And where Warren's mom is saying he begged Nolan to get back on the boat and somebody started the motor as he was getting on or not quite on or didn't know that he wasn't on. And it was a freak accident. What if? I don't know. But if we align that with the stories that the body was turned down, and the only time you turn down a body is when it's not intact or can't support itself, what would cause the body to be transported face down when that's a no-no? There's a lot of different scenarios. Sunshine Rays, thank you for the 20-piece. You said, I don't know exactly how this young man died, but it is crystal clear that foul play was involved. Folks don't delete info and have his personal belongings just to have it. Those young men know exactly what happened to Nolan. I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you. Will we get the truth? I don't know. Sexy RN says salt water can cause your body to look burned when it's in the water for a few days. The skin starts to peel off and expose the deeper tissue. Ooh. It's a lot. We'll be back. We'll be back. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back. We can't cover everything, but we are going to peel it back piece by piece. All right. That's all we have for now.